Hi there. In this video, I return to the review of a particular video put out by The Cruise. There's a channel, a YouTube channel known as The Cruise. In that show, three Muslims were having a discussion, a friendly discussion anyway. There wasn't anything bad in the discussion. They didn't attack themselves. But there were things that people should be aware of in what the Muslims were saying. Just to recap, these were the people that took part in that discussion. Ridwan, a Muslim, I've already done the review of his own contribution. Salman or Abu Salman, a Muslim also, I have done a review. I want to do a second review and probably go to do a third review on the contribution of Salman. Even though I do not consider him to be as knowledgeable as Ridwan when it comes to Islamic beliefs, yet I find his contributions very dangerous in that he is making attempts to hide some things. And that is where the danger is. So he appears to be a moderate person, speaking slangs, this and that, Jakpa. He's saying all those things as like a moderate Muslim, but he is dangerous nonetheless. Dangerous in the sense that he is hiding the real intention of Islam. So I'm going to let him say some things now while I then zoom in on something that is going to mention now. Let's see.
Countries that actually practice Sharia. I'm not talking about those countries that they depict in movies or the countries where they've been.
So he's talking about countries that actually practice Sharia law, and he's not talking about countries that they depict in movies. So let him take it away. Continue.
So infiltrated and with their ignorance and lack of education.
So, as usual, they talk about ignorance and not having knowledge, lack of education. So he's not talking about those countries like Afghanistan, where he said they do their nonsense, extreme things. He's calling those Islamic practices nonsense. Let him finish.
They've actually done nonsense, extreme stuff. I'm talking about countries where, like, go to Saudi Arabia, go to Dubai.
Okay, so those are his go-to countries, Saudi Arabia and Dubai. In the first review that I did on him, I have proved that those are not even the standard Islamic countries. He said Dubai, by which he means UAE. It's not an Islamic country. It's just an Arab country. And then in Saudi Arabia, they were doing all those nonsense, these things he's calling extreme stuff. They were doing all those things before Mohammed bin Salman came, the current crown prince of Saudi Arabia. They were doing all those things. Women will not drive, okay? And a woman cannot go out alone without a companion, a male companion. And a lot of beheadings before MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, came and started purging things. And when he started doing the purging, when he started doing the modernization, sheikhs, traditional sheikhs, fundamental sheikhs resisted him. And there are over 70 of them in prison now. He just put them in jail. He held them in jail because they were hindering the reforms that he was carrying out. These people were the Islamic teachers resisting the reforms that Mohammed bin Salman is carrying out. Go and check these things out. This guy that is talking, he's not bringing any evidence. And I am the one bringing evidence. I showed also that in UAE, actually the princess of Dubai, I should go and watch this, the first review. They're not Muslims. They're not real Muslims there. They are just moderate people, because UAE understands that much of their income comes from visits of foreigners, and so you dare not mess with them. Otherwise, the economy of your country will go down. Okay, so UAE is not an Islamic country; it's just an Arab country. A lot of people visiting the place, going there to do shopping, to enjoy themselves, and you spend a night in their 5-star or 7-star hotel, you're going to pay something like $25,000 per night. That's where they get their money. And that's why everybody can do whatever they like in a proper Islamic country. That will not be allowed. So this guy is just trying to fool people. He's trying to fool people. Either he knows and is fooling people, or he's ignorant of what he's saying. Although he sounds like he wants people to believe that he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't. Let him continue.
They will tell you can work at 3 a.m. in the night.
Oh, they will tell you. He has not been there. He's just hearsay. They will tell you can work, but continue.
Nothing will happen to you. Why? Because they know that if you should kill somebody there, immediately the Sharia will be placed on you after all evidences have been made clear on you.
It's a lie. It's a lie. And I proved that before, that there's a hadith that say, not even one, that says a Muslim will never be killed for killing a non-Muslim. It's a ruling of the in any Islamic country. You dare not kill a Muslim if that Muslim kills a non-Muslim. I showed that. Watch the first video. Watch it. Up till now, I have not seen any standard response from Muslim. All that they are doing is deflection and talking about things completely irrelevant, things that are not related to the topic of discussion. So I want Muslims to speak up, address the points that I'm raising. The reason the killers of Deborah Samuel were let off the hook is exactly because of this point. They killed a non-Muslim and they cannot be killed. They cannot be killed. On the day they appeared in court, over 30 lawyers showed up to defend these murderers. Over 30. And this guy is sitting down in the studio of the Cruz, or whatever they call themselves, and he's talking blah, 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 blah. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But there is, he's going to say something now, and then I'll come back and nail the coffin. Let him just finish.
Then, of course, some people might be like, oh, it is the Sharia that made some people to burn a girl to death in a certain state in Nigeria, right? That is very wrong. Because
stop there. What is very wrong? Is it the burning of the girl that is very wrong? Or the people that say Sharia is what made them burn the girl? Which one? He said that is very wrong. Some people might say it is the Sharia that made them. He is referring to the same case in Sokoto State when they killed Deborah Samuel, and while she was still struggling, she had not quite died completely, then they burnt her. And this man is saying, attributing such thing to Sharia. What are you talking about, Abu Salman? In case you see this video, can you please clarify what are you calling very wrong? What are you referring to as that is very wrong? Is it the killing itself or the people attributing it to Sharia? Which one? Which one is it? That is very wrong. Okay?
Because in the Sharia, it is not in the place of the ordinary men to actually carry out punishment.
It's a lie. It's a lie. In different books, even in Reliance of the Traveler, a Muslim is mandated to forcefully fight somebody. This man doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, but let's grant that it's not in the place of the ordinary person, the ordinary Muslim in an Islamic empire to carry out punishment. It is the caliph or the amir, what they call emir in northern Nigeria. It is the caliph that is going to carry out the order after whatever. Okay, that doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference. The thing will still be done. And he's going to now say something very terrible. And he's going to say that even Sharia is not meant to be applied on non-Muslims. Watch.
Number 2, you don't apply Sharia on a non-Muslim.
Stop there. Stop there. This is where I'm going. He said you don't apply Sharia on a non-Muslim. I'm going to bury him now. I'm going to bury him. Just watch. This is Ibn Kathir's commentary on Surah 9, Ayah 29. Surah At-Tawbah, Surah 9, Ayah 29. Let me tell you what is in Surah 9, ayah 29. You can read it on the screen. Fight against those who believe not in Allah, nor in the last day, nor forbid that which has been forbidden by Allah. For example, eating of pork has been forbidden by Allah, and I, as a Christian, I am eating it. So the Muslims are to fight against us because we believe not in Allah. I definitely don't believe in Allah. And it says, fight against those who believe not in Allah, nor in the last day. Well, I believe in the last day. It's just that I don't believe in the last day of the Muslim. I don't believe in the Muslim's Jannah, where you have 72 huris. I don't believe that nonsense. I don't believe that there is an endless river of wine that is flowing and you have to drink and this and that. I don't believe all that. But I believe in the true last day. Nor forbid that which has been forbidden by Allah. Yeah, like pork and his messenger. Can you see associating with Allah again? Okay. And they say it's only Allah. No, every time you read, it is Allah and his messenger. They always go hand in hand. But let's drop that. And those who acknowledge not this religion of truth. All right? Like what they are referring to as the religion of truth here is Islam. And I don't acknowledge it. I say very clearly that Islam is a false religion. Just like they also say that Christianity is a false religion. I also have the freedom, the liberty to say that Islam is a false religion. And what does it say? They should fight against us. Fight against us if we do not acknowledge the religion of truth. Then it qualifies this. It says, among the people of the scripture. Who are those? Who are the people of the scripture? The Jews and the Christians. Until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued, feel themselves disgraced. So in an Islamic empire, this guy is telling us that Sharia will not be applied. No, you are deceiving people. You are deceiving people. So it says, fight them. Now, I'm going to go to, this is Ibn Kathir's commentary. So I'll go to the relevant section and you will see. Okay, so look at this. It says, the order to fight people of the scriptures until they give the jizya. You know, it's referring to this. It's referring to this. Until they pay the jizya in ayah 29, Surah 9, ayah 29, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Let Ibn Kathir give us the interpretation of what this ayah means. So it says, the order to fight the people of the scriptures until they pay the jizya. It said, Allah said, then it begins to give the meaning. Let's read it. Fight against those who believe not in Allah, nor in the last day, nor this. Say, therefore, when people of the scripture believed in Muhammad, they had no beneficial faith in any blah, 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 blah. You know, it says, this honorable ayah was revealed with the order to fight the people of the book after the pagans were defeated. Okay? So after the pagans were defeated, people entered into Allah's religion in large numbers. And then the order to fight comes. Look at this. Paying jizya is a sign of kufar and disgrace. So ayah 29, Surah 9, ayah 29, is a sign of disgrace. It's a sign of the infidel. It's a sign of kufar and disgrace. I'm not the one saying it. This is one of the most respected commentators on the Quran. And this man here wants to come and tell us that it doesn't apply to Christians. This is in an Islamic empire. Then it says, Allah said, this is until they pay the jizya, if they do not choose to embrace Islam with willing submission in defeat and subservience. So when you are in an Islamic empire, you are subservient to the Muslims. You are a second-class citizen. That is the meaning of subservience. Willing submission. They are to be subdued and feel themselves subdued. Have you seen this? Disgraced, humiliated, and belittled. Did you see that? Disgraced, humiliated, belittled. I am not reading something by myself. I am reading from your book. A commentary on your Quran. Commentary on your Quran. Let's continue. It says, Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of Dhimmi or elevate them above Muslims, for they are miserable, disgraced, and humiliated. Can you see these words, these belittling words, these disgraceful words, these humiliating words, miserable words that are used for Christians and Jews were to be belittled? Muslims are not allowed to honor the people of Dhimmi. The people of Dhimmi are the second-class citizens that are referred to in previous discussions that I've read to you. All right? They are the people that should be in defeat and subservience. They are the people that should feel themselves subdued. Those are the Dhimmi or the Dhimma. People of the Dhimmi. People of the Dhimma. They are the Dhimmi. Okay? Muslims recorded, that is referring to Sahih Muslim, recorded from Abu Huraira that the Prophet said, do not initiate the salam to the Jews and Christians. Don't even greet them first. In an Islamic empire. Don't greet them first. And if you meet any of them in a road, force them to its narrowest alley. Push them to the gutter. I am not reading any book by myself. I am reading the book of the Muslims. These are the things that these guys are hiding. And they think that we don't know. We know these things. So I am not one of the people that are ignorant and you can bamboozle and deceive when you come to a studio. We will expose all these things. So don't come here and say Sharia is not to be applied on non-Muslims. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? It's a lie. It says, this is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab. I love this. You see, Umar bin al-Khattab, that is the third caliph. After Abu Bakr, Umar is the second. Sorry, Umar. So you have Abu Bakr, you have Umar, you have Uthman, then you have Ali. They are called the four rightly guided caliphs. The four in Sunni Islam. In Sunni Islam, they are the four rightly guided caliphs. In Shia Islam, Ali, which is a relative, a cousin of Muhammad, Shia Muslims refer to him. They regard him as the first caliph. So they don't recognize Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. And that is the beginning of the great fight up to today between the Sunnis and the Shia. But that's a topic for another day. The topic I'm focusing on now is the issue of this Umar. When Umar was the caliph, something dramatic, something remarkable happened. And Ibn Kathir is going to tell us what happened. He says, this is why. What is he referring to? He said, the fact that the Christians are to be subdued, are to be embarrassed, are to be disgraced, are to be humiliated, and to be treated miserably. He said, this is why. Can you see this? He said, this is why the leader of the faithful, Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah, blah, 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 this demanded his well-known, this thing is well-known, conditions to be met by the Christians. Remember, these people were running Islamic caliphates. Okay? And this guy is telling us that even in Islamic caliphates, that Sharia will not be applied on Christians. He's lying. He's lying. He says that Sharia will not be applied on non-Muslims. He's lying. And I'm showing you that in the earliest days of Islam, when Islam was the strongest, they practiced these things and they applied the Sharia on non-Muslims, the Christians in particular. So he said, Umar bin al-Khattab, there is a well-known set of conditions that he gave the Christians. These conditions that ensured their continued humiliation, degradation, and disgrace. Have you seen that? These conditions that he slammed on them was to ensure their, listen again, these conditions that ensured their continued humiliation, 1, degradation, 2, disgrace. The scholars of Hadith narrated from Abdurrahman bin this, that he said, listen, I recorded for Umar bin al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, the terms of the treaty of peace he conducted with the Christians of Asham. Okay? This man said, I recorded for Umar, the caliph, the second caliph, I recorded for him the conditions, the terms of the treaty of peace that he conducted with the Christians. So these are the things. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. This is a document to the servant of Allah, Umar, the leader. He actually made the Christians to write these things for them to not be killed, for them to remain alive. He said, go and write these things with your own hands and bring them. Bring these conditions. Remember, they were to be humiliated and disgraced and embarrassed and treated with subservience. That is what you get if you are a non-Muslim in an Islamic empire. And so these people went and they wrote it. This man, who was the scribe of Umar, he was the one. His name is Abdurrahman bin Gan al-Ashari. He said, I recorded. He was the one that recorded it. And then what did he record? Here is it. In the name of this. This is a document to the servant of Allah, the leader of the faithful, from the Christians of such and such city. Okay? So the Christians had to write these things with submission, with humiliation. Let's look at them. Number one, when you, the Muslims, came to us, we requested safety for our lives, children, property, and followers of our religion. We made a condition on ourselves that we will neither erect in our areas a monastery, church, or a sanctuary for a monk, nor restore any place of worship that needs restoration. So even when their churches became dilapidated, they were not to repair it. Leave it like that until it collapses. You will not build new ones. And if the old ones you have built become bad and need restoration, you should not restore. And it still happens today in northern Nigeria. And this guy wants to come here and insult our sensibilities. Okay? So let's continue. Nor restore any place of worship that needs restoration, nor use any of them for the purpose of enmity against Islam, against Muslims. What's the enmity? If you proclaim that Jesus is the Son of God, that's enmity against Muslims. Condition 2, we will not prevent any Muslim from resting in our churches. So the churches are the Muslims will come and sleep in the church. Okay? We will not prevent Muslims from resting in our churches, whether they come by day or night. And we will open the doors of our houses of worship, all right, for the wayfarer and passerby. Even the strangers, it is in the church, they will sleep. We will not close the door. This is what happens to a Christian. This is what happens to churches during an Islamic empire. And this man is saying Sharia will not be applied on Christians. Let's read on. Those Muslims who come as guests will enjoy boarding and food for 3 days. So it is the Christians that will house them at the expense of the Christians. For 3 days, food and accommodation, even if a Muslim is passing by the city. We will not allow a spy against Muslims into our churches and homes, or hide deceit or betrayal against Muslims. Any of these conditions can be used to destroy them. Or they can come up and say, you are planning something against the Muslims. Who is going to? They are defenseless. They are defenseless. And this man is talking, I don't know what he's talking. Let's go on. We will not teach our children the Quran. This is the reason Muslims don't want Christians to read the Quran. This is the reason. This is the reason when you are discussing with Muslims, they will tell you, you are ignorant of Quran. You don't know the Quran. Ask them to explain. They will not explain. Because they believe that if you know it, you are going to use it against them. We will not teach our children the Quran, publicize practices of shirk, that is, believing that Jesus is the Son of God, is shirk. Invite anyone to shirk. They are referring to Christianity as shirk. So you cannot evangelize. In an Islamic empire, as a Christian, you cannot talk to a Muslim, but a Muslim can talk to you. But it gets worse. Let's read more. Or prevent any of our fellows from embracing Islam. Can you see? You must never preach Christianity to any Muslim. You don't invite people to Christianity. And you must not prevent any Christian that wants to leave to join Islam. You must not prevent them. This is the beauty of Sharia. This is the beauty of Islam. Okay? We will respect Muslims, move from the places we sit if they choose to sit in them. So if a Christian is sitting down and a Muslim is coming, he wants to sit, the Christian must stand up. Whether it's in a bus or anywhere, you must stand up. If a Muslim wants to sit in your seat, you have to stand up. Isn't this disgrace and humiliation? Let's read on. We will not imitate their clothing, caps, turbans, sandals, hairstyles, speech, nicknames, and title names. How miserable could somebody be? So, even listen, clothing. You must never wear any clothes that looks like that of a Muslim. You must never use a cap that looks like that of a Muslim. Or turban, or sandals, even sandals. You must never. Now, tell me, how does that, in real life, how does that appear? So if you have a particular pair of sandals that you even bought, and you see a Muslim wearing that, you should not wear your pair of sandals. Otherwise, you could be killed. You could be killed. Okay, so you cannot ride on saddles, hang swords on the shoulders, collect weapons of any kind, or carry these weapons. Even for your own self-defense, you cannot use any weapon. You must remain defenseless so that you can be killed at any time. Let's read on. We will not encrypt our stamps in Arabic or sell liquor. You cannot even use Arabic. Wow. We will have the front of our hair cut. So Christians were made to compulsorily shave the front of their head as a sign of disgrace. As a sign of disgrace to identify them. English is difficult. Stigmatize. My goodness. Oh, this thing is serious. So they have to be stigmatized. All right? Shave the front of their head. All right? See. Remember, it is the Christians that were forced to write these things so that they could remain alive. Okay? We will have the front of our hair cut, wear our customary clothes wherever we are. Customary. So they had a uniform. Christians had uniform that they had to wear to identify them and to separate them from Muslims in an Islamic empire. Let's read on. Wear belts around our waist, refrain from erecting crosses on the outside of our churches and demonstrating them and our books in public, in Muslim in fairways and markets. So you cannot even sell Bible or any Christian literature in public in an Islamic empire. Let's read on. We will not sound the bells in our churches. But every day, very early in the morning, the Muslims can come out. No. They can do that one. But the Christians cannot ring bells to call their own people for service. This is what you get in an Islamic empire. This is what these people want to impose upon us. And this guy, Abu Salman, is trying to tell people, oh, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. You know, it's the Sharia will not be applied on non-Muslims. So let's embrace Sharia. Let's embrace Sharia. And you can do that to those who are ignorant. You can do that to. I know all these things, and we're going to be exposing. Let's read on. So they will not sound bells in their churches. Even in their churches, they will not ring bells, except discreetly. You have to gently sound it, or raise our voices while reciting our holy books inside our churches. They cannot pray aloud. They can't pray aloud. They can't recite their prayers aloud. They cannot sing aloud. They have to. They have to. Can you imagine the misery that Christians have to go through in the hands of Muslims when an Islamic empire is instituted? All right? Let's read on. We will not bury our dead next to Muslim dead. Imagine that. We will not bury our dead next to Muslim dead. Let me tell you what happens to Uthman. Is it Uthman or Umar? One of them. When he was killed, I think it was Uthman. when he was killed, as a sign of, it was the Muslims that killed him, as a sign of disgrace, they buried him next to a Jew. He had already died. They cut him mercilessly. Muslims cut him mercilessly. And then left his body 3 days without burial. After that, when they decided to bury him, they went to bury him in a Jewish cemetery as a sign of dishonor and misery and rejection. That's Islam. That's Islam. And so the Christians are told here to sign a pact and to say, we will not bury our own dead to a Muslim dead next to a Muslim dead, or by servants who were captured by Muslims. We will be guides for Muslims and refrain from breaching their privacy in their homes. We'll be guides. How? How does that play? Now listen, here is the deal. When I gave this document to Umar, these Christians had already submitted these documents. They were forced to write these things. And the man who collected it and brought it to Umar said, when I gave this to Umar, what did Umar do? Okay? He added, look at this. He added it. He added to it. Can you see this? So he gave the document to Umar with all this humiliation that I've itemized, that I've read out. Umar said, no, it's not enough. I'm going to add. So he said, we will not beat any Muslim. Umar said, oh yeah, include in it extra ones. We will not beat any Muslim. That's number one. These are the conditions that we set against ourselves and followers of our religion in return for safety and protection. These are the people of dhimmi. This is what is called this is what we call dhimmi. And so when Muslims talk to you that are Christians, and we say dhimmi, this is the status of a dhimmi. This is it. And he said, he said, these are the conditions that we set against ourselves and followers of our religion in return for safety and protection. They didn't do anything just for safety, just to be alive. Look at all that they had to go through. If a religion is practiced under these very strict, embarrassing conditions, how many years, how many decades will it take for that religion to be, to go into extinction? That you will not build new churches, and if old ones if the old ones are collapsing, you don't repair them. You must throw the doors of your church for Muslims to come in there and relax, just lie down there, whether in the day or in the night. And if any passerby, any Muslim is passing through the town, is traveling, and he wants, so you must house him for at least 3 days and feed him also free of charge, and all kinds of embarrassments. And this guy wants to come and lecture us that Sharia is not for non-Muslims. But let me finish this. And it says, if we break any of these promises that we set for our benefit against ourselves, then our dhimma, promise of protection, is broken. And you are allowed to do with us what you are allowed of people of defiance and rebellion. So if we break any of this, do whatever you like with us. Do whatever you like. You must not talk to a Muslim. To talk about Jesus to a Muslim, you must not. And if your son or your wife is being seduced, is being enticed by a Muslim to come and join Islam because of his ignorance, you cannot say, my son, what's wrong with you? You cannot. All right? These are the, this is the beauty of Sharia. This is the beauty of Sharia. And although I did not intend to make this video long, I didn't intend to do so. But you see, when you are dealing with Islam, there is so much to talk about, that you just go on and on and on like that. There's so much to talk about because these people will not stop lying. They're not going to stop lying until you stop them from lying. They won't stop. They just won't stop. They are accustomed to lying and deception, and that is why we will keep on talking about it. See, I am bringing forth evidence upon evidence upon evidence. What are they showing? Nothing. He's just blabbering. He's just, just waffling, just saying this and saying that. Abu Salman, you are the founder or co-founder of, what did you call it? Street Jalabia. Once again, I am challenging you. Come forth with all your knowledge. Come and defend these things. And if anybody knows him, tell him, show him this video. Let him come forth and bring all that he is saying there in the studio. I want him to give reference. I am giving reference, right? You give reference and let's see. And so drop your comments down in the comment section down below. And until I see you in the next video, please stay away from Islam. Thank you and God bless you.